Shrockstar Buckeye Lounge, we run this game. Shrockstar Shaun, remember the name. TG's lurking, Wolverine's fear. Scarlet and gray, make it loud and clear. TG and Shaun, bringing that smoke. They stand in the paint, that ain't no joke. Tune in, turn up, let the show begin. The Buckeye Lounge, straight fire within. Buckeye Lounge, we run this game. Shrockstar Shaun, remember the name. TG's lurking, Wolverine's fear. Scarlet and gray, make it loud and clear.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Buckeye fans of all ages, the Ohio podcast proudly brings to you the Buckeye Lounge. I'm your host, the Shrockstar Shaun Shrock. With me, as always, my partner in crime, my co-host, the Wolverine Slayer herself, Miss TG. And with us, we have a very special guest tonight, guys. You will find him on Bucknuts Morning 5 every Friday with Dave Biddle. We are a big fan of this guy, Mr. Jonah Booker. JBook, thank you for joining us, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here, talk some Buckeyes, talk some shop, and it's a beautiful thing, especially when you're talking about the number one team in the country.
Thank you.
There is one thing I want to get off quick. We are sponsored by mybookie.com. So guys, if you've not set up with MyBookie yet, go to mybookie.com, put in the promo code Ohio, and you'll get a $500 free play. Actually, it's a bet forgiveness. So if you lose $500 worth of bets, you get insurance on that. And one more thing I'd like to put out there. I don't know if everybody saw it on X yet or have heard. Former OSU great and New York Jet great Nick Mangold has let it be known that he needs a kidney transplant. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Nick. I mean, what a warrior he was. What a great, probably a Hall of Fame NFL player, college Hall of Famer. So prayers out to Nick and his family, and stay strong, and we're pulling for you, buddy. Now, Jonah, or JBook, sorry, we'll call you JBook. So happy to have you here, man. Tell us, so far, things are going great so far. What's your take on the season so far of our Buckeye team?
Yeah, A+ defense. I mean, when you look at this team, obviously the defense is the one thing that stands out to me. Coming into the season, I thought, hey, they have an opportunity to be really good. I had no idea that they would be this good this early. I thought it was going to be kind of a slow build, especially with Matt Patricia coming in from the NFL. I was thinking, hey, they're transitioning from a 3 safety look that Jim Knowles implemented to more of an NFL schematical look under Matt Patricia. So it might take them a little bit time to adjust. I did not believe that they were going to come out with their hair on fire like this. And so in my mind, and I'm thinking, it's like, if they're this good early, and fingers crossed that they're not peaking, how good can they be come November in playoffs as they continue to stay healthy and play together? Because you're starting to see some guys pop up that you weren't expecting to be contributors. I thought Tywan Malone had a monster game against Illinois, stepping up for Edric Houston, who was out. On the offense, I think it's kind of a slow burn. I know it's frustrating for a lot of us because I do believe that there's a lot more meat on the bone, especially when it comes to the offense. When you're talking about 2 wide receivers on the outside within 2 years are probably going to be worth $50 million each in the NFL their first year. So to me, I would think, like, hey, let's have this offense structured to a place to where we're working outside in with our first round NFL talent, get those guys the ball, and then at that point kind of utilize that to establish the run game. So I think they're nowhere close to where they can potentially be as far as the offense, but the defense outstanding. Offense continue to get better. But the beautiful thing is when you watch this Ohio State team, and I watch a lot of college football all throughout the country, this Ohio State team is head and shoulders better than anyone else in college football. And the one thing I say about Ryan Day and this Ohio State team is they're so predictable in a good way, meaning that when they show up every Saturday, it's not a volatile up and down performance that you see all across college football. You know that what you're going to get from this Ohio State team, and that's going to be great effort, very disciplined. They're going to try their best to get the ball into their playmakers, but it's a consistent football team. I mean, you watch an Ole Miss, they'll go into LSU, beat them, turn back around, and they're in the dogfight against Washington State. That's kind of that volatility that you see all across college football. Besides Ohio State is very, very consistent on their approach, and you have to give this coaching staff a lot of credit for the way that they're building it and how consistent they are across the board.
I would love to give my co-host some credit here because she was the one from day one calling it that Matt Patricia, when he got hired, that this defense was going to be better than last year. And a lot of people did not believe her, and she took a lot of
Yeah.
guff for it. She took a lot of crap for it. So she was the one that's standing on the soapbox yelling how great this guy was, and people were laughing at her. And now, she's getting the last laugh on them. But one thing I wanted to ask you, if there's one part of the team that you would like to see do, but one that needs really to be improved, what
Yeah.
position would you think needs the most improvement going forward
Well,
right now?
I would definitely say not per se a position group unless you want to throw punter in here, but I don't think you guys brought me in here to talk special teams and punting. I do think that they definitely need to get a little bit better on the run game. When you look at that Illinois game, 2.9 per carry. You look at Texas under, right there around the shade of 3 yards per carry. And then I believe against Washington, they were right in that area. So against some of the big dogs, they haven't been able to really establish the run game like you want to. Now the question is that a personnel issue or is that a schematical issue with Brian Hartline? That's a very long conversation because now you're really starting to get into the nuts and the bolts because Ohio State's right now they have an obsession with running a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets when in their run game. When that happens, that's pretty much a telltale sign this is a run. So
Hmm.
what are teams doing? They're cheating up. They're bringing the safeties up into the box, and they're putting the heels of the safeties probably 10 to 12 yards from the line of scrimmage. When you watch that Illinois game, anytime that they came in with multiple tight ends and it was an obvious run situation, the Illinois defensive line was coming out of their stands like they were in a track and field stands coming out the blocks as sprinters because they, in their mind, they knew that this was run because of the tendencies of having multiple tight ends on the field. So I would like to see them in a situation say, okay, can we get a little bit more dynamic in the run game? And how do you do that? Let's back off some of these guys. Let's put Jeremiah, let's put Carnell, let's spread them out, put these guys out wide, have them at least be some type of a threat that hey, if you're going to cheat up, you're going to put your corner one on one with Jeremiah Smith to maybe back those safeties up, and then try to run the football with a little bit more of a spread look. So I would say the run game is my one area that I would love to see them get better at because, as you guys know, things are looking good right now. Once that November weather hits, you never know when it might be a little bit rainy, might be a little bit snowing, which could impact the pass game. And if we go into the Michigan game and you can't establish that line of scrimmage, then all bets are off, especially when it comes to that game. So, are we going to get a game plan to where they're running it 30 times right up the gut and only getting 2.5 yards per carry? If that's the case, you're making it very, very difficult for Julian Sand because what did we see against Illinois? Run on first down, run on second down, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. And so now you're putting Julian Sand in a situation to where you need him to make big time throws just to continue to move the offense. They have to find Brian Hartline has to find a way to keep the offense on schedule. If that means, hey, throw a quick pass on first down to where you're making it 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. Now, if you're only getting 3 yards in that run game, third down is much more manageable for Julian Sand.
Yeah, I would say so. And when you talk about special teams book, let me tell you right now, if you want to talk about punting, we had Trey Williams on the show, and Eric has brought this up on how many times he said this.
Tim Williams.
What they do with punting, they do that on purpose. These kickers,
Really?
these punters have better legs than what they're showing. The reality is now with Nick, he's inconsistent. That's his biggest problem. It's
Yeah.
not like he can't kick it; he's just inconsistent. Our starting punter actually does have a leg to kick it down the field, like to get more yards, but they don't want to take a chance with anybody punt returning because they know for a fact that can hurt them in some way. So they make it a point to kick it 45 yards to not give them a chance to punt return because they trust their defense so much to get stops
Mhm.
that they are okay with allowing that to happen. They just do not want no punt returns for the other team.
Yeah,
Literally, this
it's
is true.
when you're watching it and you're like, what is going on with the punter? Like, does he have a noodle leg?
Mm-mm.
I mean, because right now I think the punter's like ranked 118th or something like that in
Mhm.
118th, like way down in the bottom 5% of all of college football as far as like punting, like averaging like 40 yards a punt or something like that. It's like, come on, buddy, like get it out there. Like, but it's interesting that you said that they're asking them to do that. And I do think a lot of things that they do with that coaching staff is very calculated.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I'm curious because with the defense that they have, if they didn't have this defense, would they be as conservative as they are? But the beautiful thing is you do have a great defense, so it does allow you a leeway to kind of play that way and still win. And the crazy thing about it, and I said it last weekend, it was like this team is so weird. Like it's a fun weird because when you watch them, you're like they're so good. They're so good. And you watch these other games and you're like they're so ahead of these other college football teams and they're covering the spread. Right now Ohio State is one of the hottest teams covering the spread. They're like 9-0-1 since the Michigan loss or something like that last year covering the spread. Like they're a ATM machine if you're betting on Ohio State basically. But then when you watch him and if you watch Ohio State closely, you're like they could easily be doubling up the point spread on some of these teams. Like when you watch that Illinois, it was 20-0. I truly believe that game could have probably been like 42-7 if they really would have, put the pedal down just a little bit. And so you watch them, you're like, they're just cruising. They're just cruising right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's by design because they know for a fact that they don't have to play like they don't have to go all out and play like pretty. Cause somebody, Sean,
Yeah.
who is it that we see it that who is it that you see it Ohio State while they don't look like they don't play pretty, but they play dominant. Like they don't look pretty, but they look dominant. And it's like that's all Ohio State aims to say. Who said that?
Um, I forget who it was actually. Honestly, there was one thing I did want to bring up with Jonah though that we talked to Boom Heron yesterday and we brought up the running game and he pointed out to me in TG. He said he was happy with the way the offensive line was playing. He was saying that the backs, whether it be in experience, but they've missed a lot of runs, they've missed a lot of holes, they've missed a lot of.
Yeah.
So he thinks the offensive line is playing pretty well right now. Because I was under the same feeling you were that our line needed to pick it up, but he thought that they were playing really well right now.
Well, it's obvious that the run game is going to go as far as Bo Jackson. He just brings another element to the table to where he's able to get skinny in the hole. His vision is a little bit better than the other guys. He's able to find those very very small creases to get to the second level. I don't have a problem with the offensive line. I don't even think it's an offensive line issue. I think it's a schematical issue to where when teams are crowding the line of scrimmage and you run it right up in between guard, center, guard,
I'm not gonna get there.
you're getting about 2 yards a pop. I'm almost like, hey, Bo Jackson does his most damage when you're able to get him in space or get him on the edges. So when you watch that running game and they're running right up the gut about 20 times a game, and I'm thinking to myself, I was like, is this really what this offense was designed and built for? When you look at all of the pieces as far as the 5-star wide receivers and a lot of the skill position players, I'm envisioning it as like, hey, this is a Lamborghini, but you're going to run the running backs right up the gut 20 times. Like, is this with multiple tight ends on the field? And I'm thinking, it's like, is this really what you want to be? But the question is that a lot of people are saying, it's like, hey, are they saving something? Are they holding it back? Are they purposely doing something in order to uh, wait to unleash it later on? That's the I'm hoping that's the case. Um, but if we get to Michigan and it's the same thing, everybody's gonna be looking at them sideways. Was like,
Yeah.
what was that, man? Did
Yeah,
you not learn
actually,
your
that was
lesson?
that was Tyler's question is, do you think they're purposely hiding stuff? Here's my thing. I think they are because I think
Yeah,
Ohio State wants to wait till the right time to peak. Now, I don't know if they're going to do it against Michigan to peak or not, but I do think
right.
I would say they might start playing better than what
Yeah,
they've been. And to be honest, I'm not as worried about Michigan's D line because I actually did get a chance to watch them all season. Have you, JBook?
yeah. Who, Michigan?
Yeah, have you got a chance to watch their D line or their
Yeah,
team
they're not as
overall?
good as they were last year. They're definitely not as good. And for some reason, they're not as disciplined. They obviously
Mm-mm.
don't have the defensive tackles, but they're not as physical as they were last year. Like when you watch them, especially against USC, they're not taking on the blocks and getting off blocks, and their tackling has been atrocious. I mean, when USC can run for over 200 bills on you, that tells you right there that that defensive front is not what it was last year.
With the
Mhm.
four-string
Do you
running
know
back.
why? Yeah,
Yeah,
with a four-string running back, but do you know why?
was that?
Like, you know how we have our strength and conditioning coach Mickey Marotti, who's a legend. Their
Yeah,
strength and conditioning coach absolutely sucks. Like, these guys, from what I've heard, look like
yeah,
watermelons. Like, they're fat, they're slow. They don't like these guys are not physically exercised at all. It's like, man, it's like you really miss Ben. What was the
Herbert.
what?
Herbert.
Yeah, Ben Herbert. That's who y'all really miss right
yeah.
now. Cause look at what he
Went
did
over.
for Wisconsin when he was there, and
Yeah,
look what he's done over the years. It's like y'all really miss him right now, don't you?
yeah. It's funny because today I was actually doing some yard work, and when I was doing my yard work, I always like to check in on the enemies and see what they're saying. And I was listening to those guys, and the meltdown was pretty much all about how the defensive line is not up to standards and how Wink Martindale got his pants pulled down on national TV in front of everybody, and how the defensive run fits were just absolutely atrocious. And they're over there calling for Sharon Moore's head, saying, "Hey, we need to pull a James Franklin before it's too late," because they're afraid that they're staring down the barrel of the Duke's Mayo Bowl coming up down the pipeline for them. So I have my little entertaining while I was doing my yard work and stuff today.
Oh, Jay
Yeah.
Book, this is what's funny. That total meltdown mode that they had, because I was checking it out the other night. They claimed that USC was stealing their signs. Then they claim that Kirk Herbstreit's son is giving away all the game plans to the opposing team. That he was planted in there as a mole, and he's giving away the game secrets. And I'm just like,
That
the plays are coming in through the headphones. How are they stealing your signs, you morons? I mean, it's
Right.
just
Unless
yeah,
unless you're thinking he's just giving all your plays by listening through the thing or something, or he's just selling your sheets off. Which unless he's doing that, I don't know how
total,
he would do that. I don't
total
know.
meltdown. Total
I
meltdown.
like
yeah. I don't know. They're being delusional. That's just cope right there for getting your butt whipped by USC.
They got whooped in the trenches. I could not believe that USC went just basically lined it up and ran it down their throats. And I never thought you'd ever see a USC team do that. And they
Bro, I
stomped
mean,
them.
look at how USC looked against Illinois. Like they weren't dominating like that on the line of scrimmage against Illinois and
No,
some of these other teams they were going up against. They go against y'all, and all of a sudden they look like freaking y'all from 2023.
I mean, I would say this, and I said it Saturday. If anything, USC gave Ryan Day and them the blueprint, like, hey, spread Michigan out. I mean, here's the thing about Michigan: you jump out on them, they are going to fold because they are not built to play from behind. If they have to play from behind, it puts a lot of pressure on the freshman quarterback and those wide receivers who have struggled all year. That is not their forte. They will absolutely melt down if they can't play you within a phone booth when it's a one-score game. If you jump out on them, they are in big trouble. That's why I'm surprised that they're a 5.5-point favorite over Washington this weekend. Washington has the firepower to go in there this weekend. With those guys that Washington had, if they jump out on Michigan, they can win that game outright.
Well, they beat him last year. I mean, Jed
Yeah.
Fish outcoached them last year. I think he's going to do it again. I mean, if Michigan was smart, that's who they would have made their head coach, not Sharon Moore. But hey, they can keep Sharon Moore as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, let's be real. If they wanted to buy him out, his buyout is only like, actually, what, this year will be like 4 million, but I think his buyout overall was like 13 million or something like that, which
Yeah,
they got the money to do
that's
that.
chump change, especially when you have Larry Ellison in as one of your major boosters. So if
Yeah.
Penn State can find a way to scratch up $50 million, Michigan sure as heck will pay out Sharon Moore's buyout and tell him going. I always said that he was originally retained because they didn't know what was going to happen as far as the sanctions coming out of the Jim Harbaugh saga. And I thought that he was always going to be left holding the bag when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to Michigan in
Mm-hmm.
the first place because Jim Harbaugh took everybody, including the strength and conditioning coordinator, everybody went over there to LA, left Sharon there to hold the bag and deal with the fallout. Now you're looking at a situation to where they're a shell of themselves compared to the Harbaugh regime because that coaching staff, as much as we disliked them, they had a darn good coaching staff. A lot of those guys are picking up where they left off in the NFL right now.
Well, some of those guys, I actually have watched some of them in the NFL in certain games. Like, I remember watching them against CJ Stroud last year in the playoffs. Bro, CJ was tearing up that team like no tomorrow. I
Yeah.
was busting out. And then their offense was getting destroyed too. I'm like, you know what's funny? It's like all of a sudden when y'all don't know what the other team is doing,
Yeah.
y'all got quartered up by CJ Stroud in the NFL, but in college y'all were stuffing him. Like, what changed exactly? Like, y'all
Right.
didn't know what he was running?
I know.
Just saying.
Now, Jay, if there's a couple players that kind of surprised you this year so far, who would it be? And is there anybody that you look to step up that you really want to see step
Yeah,
up?
I thought Bo Jackson is a surprise because going into the season, it was always about James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson as the 1-2 punch. I didn't think coming out of camp that we thought that Bo Jackson was going to be a freshman All American candidate. So the way that he's running has really surprised me. I think Jalen McClain has been outstanding on the back end for his part. Like he hasn't really in a good way stood out to where you were like, what's Jalen doing back there? Like he's been rock solid on that back end. So you have to give him a lot of credit. And I think he's been playing extremely well. And Austin Saraville, I don't think anybody really knew what we were going to get from him. I mean, he was all Iron Buckeye during the summer with those awards. They talked about him kind of being that swing guy. Will he be the left side, right side? Would the Ethan kid that came over from Rice, will he be the starting left tackle? And then here you go with Austin Saraville with playing some outstanding football that hasn't given up a pressure all season long. And you look at him, you're like, that's a pleasant surprise because you're probably going to have him back for another year. In the way that he's playing, you're like, hey, this is a future left tackle for the program. I don't know if he's going to play at that on the left side in the NFL, but he's been a really good surprise for me. As far as guys that's stepping up, that needs to step up, I mean, I would say the biggest weakness going into the season probably for me was the question marks at the defensive tackle. We all knew that K-Mac was going to be a dog. We thought Edric was going to be another guy that's going to take his game to the next level. But I think that injury has really set him back as far as where he wants to be. But the question mark was going to be what was the depth behind those two guys. Now, to me, I really can't look at it and say, hey, somebody needs to pick it up because you're looking at Taiwan Malone. I think he's playing some really good football. Will Smith, when they call his number, he's starting to play some football. Last week, Jason Moore was in on the goal line. He was a guy that a lot of people were saying, hey, we need to get a little bit more out of Jason Moore. So a lot of the question marks with that second team defensive tackle position, now you're starting to see those guys get into the mix and make some plays. And you was like, okay, we needed that. So I can't look at it at a position group right now and say, hey, somebody needs to pick it up, because I think they're all playing like extremely well right now. There's not one mark on the team that you can point at and say, hey, that's the lone weakness right now, because they've been pretty solid across the board.
You know, it's funny when you talked about Jason Moore. I said it before. Like he was kind of like coming around slowly, but it's like this Illinois game. He actually stepped into the fold, not just on the goal line stand, but on a
Yeah,
couple of plays, and he was stepping up. You're like, we're starting to see something from Jason Moore now. It's
Mhm.
like that's where I think we're the most happy about when it comes to the Buckeyes is you're seeing the development, and these guys really start to come along because it takes some of them a while to come along. It really do. Like development is different
yeah,
for a lot. Some come along
right.
quickly, others come along pretty slow, and it takes them till like they
And
finally get
Jason
them. Like,
Moore, he wasn't healthy either. He was hurt for
mm-mm,
quite a bit of the camp, and now that it looks like he's getting healthy, they're putting him into some situations. So if he could continue to build off that momentum, and as we get down into the stretch of the season, if he's available and playing at a high level, it's only going to make that rotation deeper, which is a good thing, because now you don't have to have K Mac playing 50, 60 snaps a game. You want him to be healthy as you get ready for the playoffs.
that's their purpose. Um, t-
hmm
JBook, Tyler does ask you what team down the road makes you pause from when we face them.
None right now. I don't think there's not a team out there that really scares me right now. But I will say this: Texas A&M, with their quarterback and his ability to be a dual threat guy, he can make you pay. If they're able to go up tempo in Ohio State, they can create a little bit of discomfort when it comes to this defense. But as far as any team right now, hey man, we in the fast lane. We're rolling. We're
Mm-hmm.
rolling right now. Everybody else is trying to catch up to Ohio State right now. I mean, I think Joe Clapp was on his podcast and he said there's maybe three teams in all of college football that has a shot of scoring 20 points against this defense. And I think he said like Miami,
Mm-hmm.
Indiana, and Texas A&M are probably the only three teams that have a legitimate shot of scoring 20 points on this defense.
How
Oh
many
yeah.
how many teams do you think the Big Ten gets into playoffs?
I think they could probably get four. I think if Washington wins this game against Michigan, Washington has a legitimate shot to go into that last week against Oregon 10-1. And if that's the case, they're going to make a strong case to be in the playoff, because you can look at it and say, hey, we lost to the number one team in the country 24-6. We won all of our other games. We're going into our rivalry game the last week of the season. At that point, they will have a legitimate case. Indiana's going to be in, Ohio State's going to be in. I think Oregon has a legitimate shot. USC, if they can beat Notre Dame this weekend, that moves them to 6-1. Things start to get real interesting at that point, because you're talking about USC and Oregon. Who's going to win that game? So you could have four. I think they'll get four in, because you can go ahead and put in Ohio State and Indiana. Now you're talking about um,
Oregon.
Washington, USC, and Oregon. You can probably get two more out of that group.
Do you think Illinois has a shot? Because if they don't lose any more games, their two losses was against Indiana and Ohio State. I
They
mean,
they have a shot. I'd say it was outside, because they have to go to Washington. That's going to be a tough matchup next week for them. But if they run the table, I don't know how much respect Illinois is going to get, because they're going to say, hey, the two big dogs that you played against, you lost, but that is a quality win against USC that they will have on their resume. It's going to be fascinating, because the SEC, they're already trying to set the table, talking about we're the deepest conference. We're cannibalizing each other. They're trying to set the table to get four teams in as well.
do you think they
Yeah.
get four?
I think they're going to get 4. They're going to lobby to get 4. I think you're going to get 4 in the Big Ten, 4 in the SEC. You're going to get Miami in. You may get one more ACC team, depending on how if Georgia Tech runs the table, because Georgia Tech doesn't play any other big dogs, so they can go into that title game 11-1. Georgia Tech. Is Georgia Tech undefeated? I can't remember
Don't they
if they
play
lost
Georgia
or
though?
and
They
they
still
still
got
have Georgia, so
yeah.
they got a shot. And then Texas Tech, you can look at them and say Texas Tech's probably going to win the Big 12, and they'll be in as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see 4-4 from the SEC and the Big 10.
Yeah, I want to ask, what are your thoughts on Julian saying, huh? The youngster coming up here,
Yeah,
making some
look,
stuff happen, breaking some
yeah,
records.
he looks good. He's poised. I mean, he's accurate. The moment never looks too big for him. I always say he reminds me of Tim Duncan on the football field, like just fundamentally sound. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He's even keel, California cool. The most accurate quarterback in the country right now. But when you look at him, I just say, hey, give him a little bit more because I think he can handle more. You saw him against Minnesota when you really allow him to throw it downfield. He looked extremely poised. The moment didn't look too big for him. Just keep adding on to his plate.
I mean, think about that pass he threw when he got hit to Max
Yeah.
Clear.
Wow.
That was
He
the best pass he made.
and he held on.
Yeah. I mean, he's staring down a free blitzer, man, and he took the shot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep. Yeah. So I think that if they could continue to progress his game, he's only going to get better. He hasn't done anything so far this season for them to not continue to give him more. I think he's like, give me more, give me more, give me more. I think you at some point you got to start pushing the envelope for him because while the weather's good, give him the opportunities to really build that downfield passing attack with both wide receivers. I know everybody's saying, hey, they're starting to be conservative. They're conservative for a reason. At some point, you got to open it up a little bit because you can't consistently play this way and then expect to just flip it with a finger. At some point, you have to be able to build a little bit more, little bit more. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to go crazy, but I think you have to do it in a way to where you're saying, okay, you're looking at a stat line of 22 for 28, 29 for like 260, 250. And then at that point, on a consistent thread, you're talking about, all right, this kid is a absolute demon with his arm. And then at that point, you can really bring along the run game as he continued to torch people down the field.
How important do you think he's been to Ohio State's offensive identity?
He's been good. I mean, I think he because he is so calm and he's not the vocal leader that you would get from Will Howard. And that was the one thing that a lot of the players last year talked about Will Howard is will make you want to run through a brick wall. He's a different type of guy. He's a surfer kid, a Cali cool kid, where and they're saying now that he's starting to really develop that leadership mode where he's being more vocal. And Ryan Day talked about how he's challenged him in practice, and Julian Sand is starting to buck back at him, which that's what they wanted.
mhm.
When Julian's starting to buck back at him, they're saying, okay, now that dog is starting to come out a little bit more. So now you start to see a little more and more of his personality and that fight in him starting to come out. And once it really starts to come out, that's when that team really starts to galvanize and really circle around him.
Who does that remind you of when you hear the California laid back, accurate, but he's gonna emerge as that leader and you know what he is? Who
Stroud.
that remind you of, huh?
Yep, CJ Stroud.
Mm-hmm. And look at what he doing right now in the NFL. He is just tearing people up. Even when they do put him in a bad situation, he still found a way to tear some people up.
Now
What you guys got? I got about 5 or 6 more minutes if you guys want to throw some more at me.
all right, I wanted to ask you, on the defensive side, Jermaine Matthews, he played
Yeah.
some slot this last time. Do you think he's better at a slot because it made him able to make more plays? He's closer to the line of
Yeah.
scrimmage. He can blitz more. I mean, he was
Yeah.
on I mean, he got a sack. Plus, he tipped that interception. So
Yeah. I agree with you. I do think he's better in the slot. He's more active. I mean, he's darn good on the outside.
mhm,
Make no mistake about it. But him in a slot is kind of a game changer type of mode because he is so aggressive. His technique is so sound. When you watch Jermaine Matthews, the one thing I love about him is his footwork. How precise his footwork is, and having him playing close to the line of scrimmage, he's much more active. Like when you have someone who's a ball hawk like him playing close to the line of scrimmage with a Caleb Downs close to the line of scrimmage, it's almost a cheat code.
mhm.
Hmm. Hey, Tyler asks that how do you think, well, or should I say, do you think teams actually respect Sam right now as a passer?
I do. I mean, teams watch film; they know how accurate he is. He's able to deliver the ball on time. He's able to get the ball downfield. I mean, he's one of the most accurate deep ball throwers in all of college football. His NFL rating is through the roof, 20 plus yards down the
Mhm.
field. I mean,
Hmm.
teams are going to respect him because he can get the ball to Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate. So those two guys alone are going to garner respect. So I don't think there's a team in college football who's going to sleep on him. Now, will teams blitz him? Go ahead. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks when you blitz him as well. So that's one of the things that has really surprised me because with a young quarterback like him, you would think like, hey, he might get rattled somewhat if someone blitz him. It's kind of been the complete opposite, which is really surprising. Like his completion percentages are actually a little bit better when he's being blitzed when he's not being blitzed, which is kind of rare for a young quarterback. So I do think that teams respect him, and if you don't respect him, then hey, good luck to you because he will make you pay.
I mean,
I mean, hey, let's be real about this one thing. It's like even when he's not blitzed, the man still throws very accurately. So it's like you play
Yeah,
zone, he's gonna tear you up in zone. You play man, he's gonna. So what you gonna do?
he,
right.
he just oozes poise, man. The dude's so does not get rattled at all, which is amazing. Well, we'll give you one more question since you got to go. Our producer Buck Vader, he said, JBook, I have big concerns about the Big Ten private investment deal. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it at all. Keep private equity out of college sports, especially the Big Ten. At this point, I mean their whole purpose is to try to obtain as much value out of an asset and strip it down as much as possible. If they get their hands on the Big Ten, it's going to be something that I don't think is going to benefit the programs in the future. Like they will be absolutely insane to sign over any type of rights on a 10-year private equity deal. They've already made that mistake with Fox. You continue to include private equity is only going to water down the sport and where it's at right now. I don't think the Big Ten, as far as the big dogs, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, should be signing any type of rights or access over to a private equity firm. So I'm a big thumbs down. Like, and I hope it doesn't go through because at that point, when you're talking about, I think it's like a California retirement system for the University at Cal or something like that that is tied to, like, if trust me, I live out here on the West Coast in Arizona. If you're trying to tie any type of public institutional funding from California to an entity, it's a mistake. Don't don't do it.
Do
Hey,
you have a question
facts.
for Jay?
Yeah, I got one
Well,
more.
yeah, I can actually give you one more, and it would be
Yeah.
like, it would basically be about who do you believe are the leaders in the soccer room now? Because while we talked about like Julian Sane emerging as a leader, we had leaders on our other team with JT and
Yeah.
Jack and so many others, and Mecca Buka and more. Who do you think have emerged as a leader? For instance, one for me is Brandon Ennis. Who else do you think?
Yep. Well, I think Cornell's emerging as a leader. And they talked about Luke Montgomery is someone who's really emerging as a leader on this team. So he's one that those are two guys on the offensive side of the football that are starting to emerge. On the defensive side of the football, Jermaine Matthews is one. You obviously know that Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles are leaders on that side of the football,
Of
but
course.
Maine is starting to become a leader, so that's really good to hear. And then you starting to hear about the defensive ends. Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry are two other guys who are leaders as well. So when you look at it, you're like, hey man, you got your captains, but now that's the beautiful thing. You're starting to see those next wave of guys being the leaders on the football team. And if that's the case, like you're only as good as your locker room. So if you have a rock solid locker room full of guys who are going to be able to tote the line, and when you're in a locker room like Ohio State, the luxury that Ryan Day has is those guys are going to police themselves because their culture is so strong. And they've built a solid foundation to where those guys are holding each other accountable in that locker room. And that's why
Did he just freeze on us?
Yeah, I thought it was me at first.
So, so did I. I was just like, oh, then I looked at you and I saw your eyes moving. I'm just like,
Oh yeah, it happened. I think he's left. Oh dang. Sorry, JBook, man. Hopefully he can come back on and he could come back and plug
there's-
his shows and stuff on if he wants to.
yeah, if you can hear us, JBook, please pop back in. And if you can hear us, thank you. Please, if you can, pop back on quick. But if you can't, thank you again, man. And guys, check it out every Friday, usually at 9 o'clock. The morning five with Dave Biddle. Jonah is on there every Friday. JBook is on there every Friday. It's been on there for, I think he said, the last decade, man. So every Friday, I listen to those guys, man. Awesome stuff. JBook knows his stuff. Love the guy. And I'm so happy that we got to chop it up with him for 40 some minutes, man. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, like I said, if he wants to, he can come back on here and he can, upgrade. He can finish his stuff. But if he can, it's fine. But guys, we do love watching JBook. I love watching his stuff. When I was in college. Well, actually, I was in high school going into college. So it was actually pretty fun watching the Bucknuts, and it's really fun just listening to him because he's such an intelligent guy, and I really enjoy listening to him any chance I get. So, and I'm not gonna lie, like I guarantee you guys, go ahead and watch Jonah on Fridays with Dave Biddle on the morning Bucknuts on Fridays. You guys are gonna enjoy listening to them, man, especially Jay Wood. You guys are.
Well, I'm so happy because two of the guys that I really look up to and are my favorites in the media, we've had on our show. We've had Doug Marine
Memories, and I
and
love
Jay Book.
watching him.
And Jay Book,
Love
man.
both of them.
I still love to get Bill Landis on too. Don't get me wrong, but those two guys, Jay Book and Doug, are top two on my list. And to have those guys come on our show and chop it up with us, man, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, and hopefully we can have them both come back on at some point because I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy talking to them.
That would be awesome.
So and not only that, but Aaron, you mentioned I think K Mac was so ticked about that. Giving up 16 points. He hated that. Which you should expect now. Obviously, every now and again, someone's gonna score that kind of points against you, man. It's gonna happen, but hey, they don't like it. They're like, we should have. That should have never happened. Like now, I'm not gonna lie. I love the one thing I can't say about Illinois because that one play we gave up in the red zone was a trick play that Ohio State did
Yeah,
not see
you
coming, and
tip,
you gotta give Illinois
tip
that
your
credit.
cap, tip your cap to those guys, man. That was a brilliant call. I mean, you saw Matt Patricia after that happened, and he just went, "Yeah, you got me." There didn't matter what
Yeah,
they
he's
would have
like,
called, they got him. So I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, they got him on that one. It's like, because again, Illinois was smart enough to know don't run to the side because you know they're going to catch you. Don't just straight up run to the side because you know they're going to catch you. They got the speed to do it. Don't run up the middle because you know for a fact they're going to stonewall you if you do. Like, that was the only way they could
do
do it.
like
But
a
now I do
bubble
believe,
option, a pitch option. I mean, come on.
yeah. Now, here's the thing I do think you're going to see Ohio State start looking at that a little bit more because there are going to be teams who are going to try that. I promise you.
Oh yeah, that's a. I mean, that's the only play that's worked on the goal line for anybody against us. So I mean, of course, and we appreciate it, Eric, and
Yeah.
everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys. We did a very cool interview with Boom Heron last night, so that should be dropping soon. I don't know if it dropped already. If it did, please
It
check
did
it out. It did.
early this
Thank you,
morning.
Eric, for dropping it. Um, it was awesome to do. Boom's going to come back on because we didn't get to ask him exactly everything we wanted to because he was on about an hour and his kids came in, so he had to put his little kids to bed, and they made an appearance, and they were cool little dudes. But
Yeah, they were cute.
yeah, we didn't get a chance to. We're gonna do probably another show or two with them, and it's gonna be awesome because he knows that we didn't get a chance to talk to him about the tattoo gate stuff, and he said that he would talk to us about it. So we just didn't get an opportunity to really get in depth on it. So he's willing to do it,
Oh
and I
yeah,
did.
Sean, do you want to talk about some little rumors we
Nah,
heard about? No, just rumors. We're not. Do you want to talk about the rumors we heard about or no?
not now. Let's. I want to give it a week or two, and I'll tell you why after. Just because there's just some things that
No,
like I
like it's
said,
like the rumors we're gonna hear. It's like the rumors we're gonna say. We're not gonna say any names. Not gonna say none. But all we're gonna say is there's some rumors we heard, people. Now we're not gonna tell you now. That'd probably be for the better. But we give you two. But we'll give it about 2 weeks, and then we'll tell you because
well,
it's going.
I'll tell you guys something. We have a new inside source. Me and TG found a couple days ago, and we met this person. And let's just say we were told we were given full permission when this news breaks that we get to break it. They'll let us know so we can break it live either on Patreon. If it's at night we're on our show, we'll do it on the show. But more than likely, we're probably going to break it on Patreon, and you guys need to check it out because we already have the goods. We just don't have the permission to give up the goods right now. So
Yeah, like we're not gonna say any names, but it's
well,
just
we're
we're
not
just
gonna,
not gonna say nothing.
we're not going to bust any kids. We're not going to make because if you start mentioning names or positions, kids, the coaches can make it difficult on the kids if they're still somewhere or they haven't committed yet or they were told they were going to commit. I mean, certain people have just blasted kids and said, "Hey, this kid's flipping, this kid's doing that," and it hasn't
Yeah,
been true. It's
no,
just been made up crap, and they've made recruits' lives miserable. We'll never do that here. We'll never
no,
we'll never do that to a kid, and we'll never burn our sources. So people
yeah,
trust us. So you know what? And our man Vader is one of the best insiders and becoming one of the best insiders in the business right now with the stuff he has. And Vader, he won't do that to any kid either. He was upset with a certain person for calling out a recruit that shouldn't have been called out, and this kid
yeah.
got punished for it. And it's total BS and it's Mickey Mouse crap. If your freaking ratings are suffering that bad that you got to do that to make clickbait, dude, you're pathetic. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. And Aaron, yeah, we did see that we did get a recent commitment from a corner I had saw. I already forgot his name because I can't pronounce because I gotta remind myself how to pronounce it. But we did get a commitment, and here's what I will say: some recent events have led to Ohio State potentially getting some more kids. I'm just gonna
Um,
say that
there's
it potentially has. So
there's some potential that we've heard. There's some let's just say there's some ground shaking and movement going on, but we're gonna be happy. Let's put it that way.
yeah, like that's just how we should say it, basically.
And I think it actually has the potential to be more massive than what we think it's going to be. TG, I think
Mm-hmm.
it could bring a lot more players than what we think it's going to bring.
Yeah.
But the excitement, I mean, both of us the other night, we about fell off our chairs. I mean, we could not believe what we were hearing, and we were told, we got to keep it down on the hush hush. But when we're given the permission to break it, we're gonna drop it like a tidal wave.
Yep. And you guys are going to be the first ones to listen to it. Just go to Patreon. And not only that, but also tune in for Patreon. I will be pre-recording my NFL rundown of the of the Buckeyes in the NFL and their NFL team. So if you guys thank you Tyler for saying Kamari Bing. That was the kid's name I was thinking of.
All
But
right.
if you guys want to tune in to listen how all our favorite Buckeyes are doing, of course, we got some injury news. I know you heard it on Eric and Chris's show earlier on 11 that both Emeka and Marvin got hurt. Emeka pulled his hamstring. Marvin suffered a concussion, unfortunately. So
And you hate to see
yeah,
that happen.
yeah, it's unfortunate. And but there also is some good news too to it, where it's like with Emeka and Jason Smith and Jimba have both entered the top 5 conversation as far as receiving yards.
Hey, Vader dropped some OV news tonight, guys. So please go over to Patreon
Yep.
and check out Vader. Again, we want to thank Vader, man, our producer, our brother, our friend, and everything he does for us, man. Thank you, Vader. please go check his blogs out on Patreon, guys. It's his stuff is top rate, man. He is becoming a sports journalist. He's an old school sports journalist and a young man's body. I tell you that right now. The dude's brilliant and what he does, man. Please check it out. Sign up. And we appreciate everybody that comes in here and checks us out. Everybody that's subscribed. Everybody that, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to have a show. So we appreciate you. We appreciate Chris and Boggsy for giving us this platform. And our brother Vader for helping us, man. He's our third piece of the, third member of this crew. So I don't want to say the third stooge, the three stooges, but
And guys, just for you to know, because I know some of you have heard us kind of talk over each other, we have had recent internet problems, so that's what's led to it. Because it leads to lagging. Like if you guys saw us on the Buckeye Boys, I used to have the lagging problems where I would lag like a couple seconds behind or a couple minutes. So that's what's been happening lately as well. Just to let you guys know.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you can also, when Mika has everything situated for her, there's a chance she could come back to the Buckeye ladies. And when everything gets situated for her, you'll see her on Patreon as well, dropping some recruiting news and dropping maybe some blogs about recruiting for all you know. She could have some information, she could not. I'm not gonna say nothing. That's for her. But hopefully everything's going well for her and her family. And again, prayers to her. And again, everybody make sure you send your prayers out to Mika. Wish her family the best and hope that she's doing okay. Check in. All right. Prayers to you, girl.
And prayers to Mika, her family, and prayers to Nick Mangold. Dude, I know you're going through it bad with that. You need a kidney transplant, so
yeah.
Prayers to you, brother.
One of the best Buckeye centers of all time, I feel. Prayers to you, man. Hopefully you get better, man.
Everybody just, life's short sometimes, man, and be grateful for what you got because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow's never promised, guys. So, and Tyler's right. Vader is the best in the business.
Him and Mika.
Yep. Thanks, Andre. Love you, brother.
Yeah, we love you too. Love you guys out there. And I know one of you had mentioned it about, Big John, you did mention this. Yes, he did. And it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny. But he has every right because it's like, that's a rule that needs to get changed. Like people that did the whole injury thing with to prevent Miss from doing the fake injuries and stuff. We already know they have a new rule after the whole thing that happened with Ohio State and Oregon. With the 12 man on the field nonsense. So you need to put in a rule for the Brett Bielema. Like you call it the landing rule, we call it the Kiffin rule. You need a Bielema rule because that is just BS on every single level. So cut that nonsense out.
Hey, if it's in the rule zone, you're using it. There's not much we can really say.
They need to change the rules. That's the point. That's the point. They need to change the rules.
I know.
But, guys.
That's gamesmanship, and I'm not going to follow the guy if it's in the rules. It might be BS, but if it's in the rules, there's not much we can say about it. So that rule does need to be changed, and you're right. Just like last year when that stupid rule got changed after the Oregon game. So, some stuff needs to be done better.
And like I said, some rules got changed after the whole Kiffin faking injury stuff. So, because people got so tired of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all of a sudden, guy just fall over like he got shot and nothing was wrong with him. I mean, come on.
Bruh. They would fake it. Bro. It's like, dude, if you're gonna fake it, at least try to go into the tent and say you'll be able to come back in the game and everything else. Like seriously.
At least lay on the ground screaming and rolling around. I mean, those guys they'd be standing there all good, and then all of a sudden just fall. I mean, like those fainting goats you see, man. I'm just like, come on, bro. Boo! Ooh. I mean, that's like, come on.
Yeah, it's pathetic, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's just pathetic.
Guys, thanks again for an awesome time. Thank you guys for coming in and watching us chop it up with Mr. JBook. Mr. JBook, thank you. Salute.
Yep. Salute to you, brother.
How do we always end this thing?
OH.
I-O. Scum still sucks. Go Bucks.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Peace out.